Welcome to Massive Open Online course. I am Dr. Manivel. On the broad topic called map scale, now we are going to work with a new topic, that is measurement of area and distance from maps. You know, in maps, specifically topographical maps or even any map, from shapefile point of view, if you look at the screen, for example this map, okay, there will be a point feature like Tirunelveli, Kovilpatti, some towns in Tamil Nadu, and there will be some line features like road network, railway line, and even the sea routes, air routes, even boundary of a particular taluk, boundary of particular district, and the boundary of particular state. You will find more line features like this, and you will find more polygon features like lake, forest cover, or any type of vegetation cover, agricultural field. Okay. So, in the topographical maps you will find three types of shapefile features. They are point feature, line feature, and polygon feature. From these features we can take some measurement, okay, that is distance and area. If it is going to be a line or point feature, we can calculate the distance between two point feature, I mean two locations, like distance between Chennai and Hyderabad, or within Chennai distance between two buildings, two specific locations, and we can find a distance of a road, particular road, right, or particular part of a river, we can find the distance, and we can calculate the area of particular ground, okay, within the city, a proposed area for ground or agricultural field outside the city, we can calculate the area. So, if it is the polygon feature, you know the meaning of polygon, we will calculate the area usually and perimeter. If it is going to be a line feature, we will calculate the length, okay. And still, if it is the straight line distance like a road, if it is in straight line without any bend, then we will follow one method. Directly we can calculate the length of that straight line feature, I mean example road, using the scale, plane scale, transparent scale, you know. Suppose if the line feature is having more bend, if it is a curved feature, then we cannot measure that line feature using the plane scale. We have to use thread, string method, we will call that a string method, or we can use divider. A divider is nothing but a geometrical tool we might have used when we were doing our schooling, right. Next, if it is the area feature like lake, agriculture field, or any forest, then we can measure the perimeter, circumference of that forest cover, or area, the total area covered by that forest cover. Okay. For that we will use square grid method. Manually, if you want to calculate, square grid method is the suitable one. We will discuss about that. And there is also another one method, planimeter method. Okay, it is a instrument, we can use that, but practically today we are calculating this area or length, perimeter using GIS technology. Example, some software QGIS, ArcGIS Pro, Google Earth Engine. Using these GIS technologies, easily and accurately we can calculate the measurement whatever we need from any type of spatial feature, that may be a point feature, line feature, or polygon feature. Okay, let us discuss one by one, right. Now, the one thing we need to understand, maps is not only for showing you the locations, the name of places, where is what, that is not the only motto of making maps. We can show more quantitative measures through the map. A layman understand and get information about more quantitative information. Example, you can get elevation data through contour lines or spot height. There will be a elevation mark and height information will be present by default in topographic maps. Okay. Now, you can download directly digital elevation model from various source of websites online, and we can use the maps to find the the length, area, as we discussed before few minutes, for better planning like urban planning, okay, environmental impact planning. Okay. For better planning and development, we need to calculate some measurements from the maps. Okay. So, maps are not only to show the places, but also to give some quantitative measurements for better planning and development. Right. Now, next let us discuss about the equation for measuring distances. I mean, in today's class we need to mainly discuss about two things. One is how to measure distance, I mean ground distance from the map. Second important thing, how to measure the area from the map, how to measure the ground area from the map area. So, first concept is measuring distance using maps, specifically topographic maps, because when we measure manually, topographic maps are best suitable for this type of measuring activity. We cannot use atlas, any wall maps, because they are small scale map. If you measure in that, we will get error. Topographical maps, cadastral maps are better suitable for measuring distance and area in the manual method, because they are a large scale map. So, there will be less error, okay, or no error. Okay. Now, the formula we need to understand to calculate the distance, okay, from topographical maps. You can look at the screen. If you want to calculate the ground distance, we need to first measure the map distance into scale. I mean ground unit divided by map units means that is nothing but the scale. In screen you are seeing here, this is the scale of map 1:50,000. Here ground units are nothing but 50,000 centimeter. If we consider, if the map scale here is in metric system, okay, it means 1 centimeter is equal to 50,000 centimeter. So, ground distance is 50,000 centimeter, map distance is 1 centimeter. So, this is scale, this is nothing but map scale. Yes. So, if we want to calculate the ground distance from topographical maps, we need to first measure the map distance, then we need to multiply with the map scale, that is all. Example, in this map, okay, scale is 1:50,000, here it is. Okay. Suppose here is it is a topo sheet, you can look at the screen. I want to measure the distance between this location and Neelamangalam, this location. For example, I am speaking, if the I want to measure the distance between these two places. Okay. If I want to measure the straight line distance, okay, I can directly use the plane scale. Suppose I want to, if there is a river, okay, for example, there are river between two places. If I want to measure the length of that river flowing in between two locations, I cannot definitely use a plane scale. I will be using a thread or divider, that is all. Okay. Anyhow, now if the, let us consider if it is a straight line distance, in that case, if it is going to be a 5 centimeter distance on map you are measuring, then if the in map scale, if 1 centimeter is equal to 50,000 centimeter, then 5 centimeter will be, we can multiply, it will be 2,50,000 centimeter, which is equal to 2.5 kilometer. So, 5 centimeter in map represent 2.5 kilometer in ground, that is all. So, we need to understand this formula to measure the ground distance. Very simple, you know, this is a basic exercise. Okay. For example, let us spend 1 or 2 minutes how to measure the straight line distance. Okay. in topographical maps. Hardly the topographical maps will show half of the city. For example, Chennai, the single topo sheet cannot show the whole Chennai, okay, half of the Chennai. So, within Chennai, if we want to measure any road network, because here we are going to discuss how to measure the straight line distance. What are the examples for straight line feature in map, which will be straight always? Example, railway line, even that will be bending, it will have curve, but maximum the railway line will be in straight line. So, if we want to measure the railway line or any sampling points, the geographer will be doing more research, okay. They want to measure the straight line distance when they are doing a road network analysis, when they are working with transportation network, okay. So, if they want to measure the straight line distance between two location, you can directly use a plane scale. Plane scale, you know, a geometrical tool we might have used when we study a school, okay. So, we can keep a scale like this in between 2 point, and we can check the distance in map, then we can convert into ground distance as we were discussing before 2 minutes, okay. Suppose in map the distance more than 50 centimeter or 60 centimeter, you cannot use plane scale. Usually the plane scale will be 1 feet, which is equal to 30 centimeter, right. So, in that case you can use the divider, that is also a geometrical tool, you know. So, using the divider you can expand the point arm of the divider, and you can measure the map distance on topographical maps. Then you can keep the divider on scale and count the number of times you measured, and you can multiply. So, here one point I want to register again. If you want to measure the straight line distance, okay, from maps, directly you can use a plane scale or divider, clear. So, that is about measuring straight line distance. Suppose if it is going to be river, you want to measure the length of river, not whole river, okay, a part of river flowing in the city. Within a city, what is the length of river flowing, we want to measure. Or road will not be straight in the cities, it will be having more bend, more curves. So, in that case how to measure? The best method is string method. String is nothing but thread, white thread or any colored thread you can use, okay. Example, look at the screen. If it is, you assume that this is a road network, okay, in topographic sheet, okay. You should keep the thread along the road network. Here you assume that the red color line is thread, okay. Take a thread, keep the first edge in the beginning of road or the starting point from which you want to measure, then keep the thread along the road. Wherever the curve goes, you follow the curve, keep carefully, otherwise you will get error. If you get error, even if it is going to be error with 0.5 centimeter, then when we convert in ground distance, it can be multiplied, you know. So, we should be very careful. So, after keeping the thread along with the line feature, that is here road network, where you want to complete the end point, okay, there you can mark in the thread, okay. Then take the thread, keep the starting point of thread in the plane scale, straighten the thread, you can measure the length of thread you have used for measurement, then that is going to be your map distance. I mean the map distance of a particular road network you have measured using the thread. Example, again you can keep, if it is going to be a 6 centimeter, for example, the map distance which you measured using the thread in the map scale 1:50,000, then you have to multiply the 6 centimeter into 50,000 centimeter, that is nothing but a map scale for example. Then you can 6 into 5 30, already zeros are there. Okay. So, 3 lakh centimeter, which is equal to 3 kilometer, example I am speaking, right. Otherwise, you can use divider also, a geometrical instrument. So, like this we can measure any line feature, okay, using string method or divider method, right. Now, we learnt how to measure a straight line distance and a curved distance. Okay, yes. Next, we are going to discuss about the area measurement. We can, which geometrical feature will have area? Line will not have area. Okay. Point will not have area. Point is a 0 dimensional figure. It will not have length, width, area. Line is a 1 dimensional shape. It will have only length. Another, the square, triangle, like this, these are polygon features are there, no? These are 2 dimensional shapes. These 2 dimensional shapes will have length, width, and we can calculate area within the polygon feature. For example, triangle is there, this is a polygon feature. It has circumference, length, perimeter around this, and it has area also. Within a feature we can calculate area. Example for 2 dimensional shape I am speaking. So, any polygon feature can be used for area measurement. Polygon feature, you know, polygon, example for polygon feature, as I said earlier, triangle, minimum 3 vertices, 3 edges. Rectangle is also a polygon. Okay. Then maybe a pentagon, hexagon, octagon, nonagon, so countless, but it should be the covered place, right. For example, it is not a polygon, here it is opened, right. Polygon means it is a closed figure, you know all this. Okay. Just I am reminding. So, you can take any polygon feature for measuring area. Here in map, which are going to be a polygon feature? That may be a lake or forest cover or any agricultural field or any other area proposed for construction of a bus stand, new bus terminus or new town settlement area, right. So, it should be the closed figure, right. Here how to measure the area? For example, this is the topographic sheet. You consider these are the lake. Okay. I want to measure the area, real time area, ground area covered by this lake. Okay. You consider again the map scale is 1:50,000. Okay. 1 centimeter in map represent 50,000 centimeter on ground, right. We want to measure the area covered by this lake. In that case, here we will use square method, square grid method. If 1 centimeter represent 50,000 centimeter on ground, 1 square grid we will use square grid method. Okay. For example, in this case in 50,000 centimeter, if we convert into kilometer, 0.5 kilometer, 1 centimeter is equal to 0.5 kilometer on ground. Okay. You know, in square, what is the formula to find the area of square? A square, we know. If the side value is 0.5, the area of square is, we will multiply. So, 0 point square we will get 0.25, right. So, the area of 1 square meter will be 0.25 kilometer. So, like this we can find the area of one square grid. Then how many square grids can be covered by this lake? We will count the number of square grid, and with the map scale we will find the ground distance. Here we will get some doubt, I will explain in detail after 1 minute. All the square will not be in complete nature. Okay. There will be some number of full square. In this case, I mean where the lake is having more curve, some half square will be there, even some quarter square will be there, 1/3 square will be there, 2/3 square will be there. So, so we need to calculate how many numbers of full square is there, how many number of 1/2 square half squares are there, how many number of 2/3 squares are there, how many number of 1/4 squares are there. So, totally then we can sum up totally 12.5 squares are there. Then we will multiply that 12.5 in with the map scale, we will get then ground area, that is all. This is nothing but square grid method. Okay. Once again let me discuss. I mean the formula I explained here in detail now. Here square grid method means, here we will be using the grid like this. See, this is a graph sheet, you are looking at the screen, right, graph sheet. In square grid method you will be using the transparent square grid. You can keep this square grid on the topographic sheet, on the polygon feature, you can keep on this. Okay. So that you can easily measure how many full square is there, how many half square grid is there, how many 1/4 square grid is there. Then you can count the total number of square grid and you can multiply with the scale. So, in square grid method we will place the tracing paper. That tracing paper will have graph sheet like this, normal graph sheet. For example, in normal graph sheet usually the length of one grid will be 1 centimeter, and one big square grid will have 4 subdivisions, and there will be 10 rows and 10 columns. So, it can be very easy to measure area using this tracing paper which has the lines of graph sheet, right. Okay. Now, here if we want to measure the area using the square grid method, these are some steps. First we need to use the transparent grid, then you need to count full square and half square, 1/4 square, then we will sum up all the square, then you will multiply with the map scale to get the ground area. Yes. Okay. And there is another method called planimeter method. Usually now we are not using this. Not only this method, earlier method square grid method also we are not using these methods, because we are calculating area and distance using GIS softwares. Anyhow, in this planimeter method, this is a device. This device, as you are seeing in the screen, it will have 2 arms. One arm will be an anchor arm that will be fixed in the starting point of any polygon feature which you want to measure. For example, you want to measure the area covered by particular lake. You can keep the anchor in the lake where you want to start your measurement, in the perimeter of lake, and there will be another one arm, pointing arm. You can move along the boundary of lake. I mean, you have to move the pointing arm along the lake boundary which you want to measure. So, after tracing, I mean moving along the boundary of lake, automatically the planimeter will show you the area of particular polygon feature you measured. So, this is planimeter method. In this you have two arms, one is anchor, another one is pointing arm. By tracing the pointing arm along the boundary of lake, you can get the area of that particular lake. Next method is, as you are seeing in the screen, GIS based area calculation. Right now in today's world, this is the right method to measure distance and area. Then why did we learn the previous method? They are traditional method. From those method, these methods are developed. Now, QGIS, take this is one great open source GIS software. Still there are many other software also. Whatever the software you use, if you want to measure the area or even distance from the map, not only topographic maps, even any small scale map, whatever the map type of map you are using in GIS software, first you need to convert that map into shapefile. I mean, from GIS perspective, GIS software perspective, how to calculate area I am speaking now. Okay. See, from GIS perspective, maps will be in two format, raster format and vector format. Regarding this, you will be learning in upcoming lectures in detail. Okay. I am saying now in short. You have usually we will download the map data, or we will capture the image of earth through satellite, through remote sensing technology, you know. Those images will be generally called as raster data. That raster data should be converted into shapefile, I mean vector data. Then we can easily calculate the area, length. Directly also we can calculate nowadays using Google Earth Engine, using coding, okay, Python, and using coding we can measure. But now systematically when I am speaking, you need to convert the map into shapefile vector data. Then you can, there will be an option, okay, in shapefile you can go to attribute table. Okay. For example, you open, if you open in GIS software, particular area is there in Tamil Nadu topographic sheet, I mean in Tamil Nadu particular place in Chennai. Within Chennai there will be number of polygons you take, for example, number of ground or open space in Chennai, within Chennai. Okay. You have the list of open space, empty lands in Chennai. Okay. Those will be listed in as a shapefile. Each shapefile can be opened and you can check the attribute table. We can say that is attribute table. Okay. In attribute table there will be an option called calculate geometry. In that you will have an option called area, right. By just clicking that option area, your area will be calculated and it can be labeled, right, in the screen, and you can take a printout. How this software is doing? The each polygon, as you are seeing in the map, they will be full of vertices. For example, in this polygon there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 vertices are there and 7 vertices, 7 lines are edges we will be saying. Okay. So, polygon, basic features of any polygon features, it is about minimum 3 vertices and 3 lines, like that. So, by using the length of lines of a polygon, the software calculates the area, right. Okay. This is an optimum method to calculate area or distance from map. Okay. Next, to summarize today's lecture, that is how to calculate the distance and area from maps. Okay. First we discussed about straight line method in between 2 point or any straight line feature. The methods can be using ruler, I mean scale, or divider, geometrical tool, right. Regarding accuracy, high accuracy, I mean optimum one. If it is going to be the curved feature like river or road network, best method is string method, thread method. We can also use the divider. We can get good result in this. Third important measurement we did is area. Okay. Here we discussed about three methods: square grid method using the tracing paper with the lines of graph sheet, right. Next, planimeter method. Third one, GIS method, right. So, in square grid method we used transparent grid, and planimeter is the type of device. To use the GIS system we need computer and GIS software and the knowledge how to use the software, right. Out of all these three methods, the best method is GIS method. Okay. Today we are using this. Using GIS software we can calculate either area or length, right, or perimeter we can use, and accuracy will be very high, okay, very less chance to get error. Now, suppose still if we get an error, what might be the reasons? First reason may be about the map projection. You know, types of map projections are there: cylindrical projection, conical projection, etc. And inside with about the cylindrical projection, again there are UTM projections, zenithal projection, many projections, right. So, if you do not want to get an error, the map should be in a proper projection. For example, if it is an equatorial area, okay, not a polar area, UTM projection is better one, right. If you want to measure a distance or area in polar region, some other projection may be suited best. So, projection should be right one. Next, generalization means to measure the distance or area you should use large scale map, topographical maps and cadastral map. You should not use small scale map, taking atlas or taking wall maps and trying to measure, okay. So, you will get error. Always you should use either topo sheet or cadastral map for measuring distance and length, right. Okay. Third type of source is human error, lack of knowledge. Which type of method wants to be used, how it wants to be used. So, a geographer should have the proper knowledge. Next, practical application. As you see in the screen, the measurement is required. It will help for better transportation planning. Okay. You need to calculate more indices when it comes to transportation network, alpha index, beta index, gamma index. There are many indices in transport network. If we want to plan for better transportation network, we need to calculate more indices, more measurement, all deal with the distance, map distance between 2 points, the road lines. Next, if you want to work with the environmental impact factor assessment, environmental impact assessment, okay, you can use, you want to measure the distance between sampling points, okay. If you want to measure the pollution level between two locations, you want to measure the distance between these two locations. Next, agriculture. For agricultural planning, whether if you want to measure the or estimate the irrigation water requirement, or total area wants to be irrigated, or total area planted by particular crop, right. For all this we need to measure. So, the measurement is required for agriculture field also. Urban planning, okay, we will be measuring area and distance of a particular ground, settlement, bus stand, various type of infrastructural facilities, right, accessibility features we will be measuring. So, key takeaways from this class: to measure from map, first we need to consider the scale, okay. Usually the scale will be given in a representative fraction, we should be aware about the map distance or map area. Okay. And using the metric system, that is centimeter kilometer system, you can calculate. The best method to calculate distance or area from map is GIS method. We can use GIS technology like QGIS, ArcGIS Pro or Google Earth Engine. We can use, we will not get an error, or we will get very less error, which can be ignorable, right. Manual methods in today's world are outdated. Next, method matters. When we use a manual method, suppose which type of method wants to be used, you should have that knowledge, right. Next, mind the errors. I mean, even though if you are a knowledgeable person, experienced person, we should be very careful while measuring, right. Whether it is going to be a GIS method or manual method, we should be careful. Even in GIS method, you need to projection. First, you need to georeference the particular topo sheet. If you want to measure the distance from topo sheet using GIS, there are some steps to be followed. If you skip some step, you will get error. For example, if you want to measure the distance between two locations using topo sheet and using GIS technology, first you need to georeference the topo sheet, then you need to do projection, that georeferenced topo sheet in GIS technology. Then you need to create an area column in attribute table. Then you want to calculate the area in particular measurement system you want. So, if you skip any steps in the steps as I said, you will get an error. So, you should be very careful, right. So, that is about today's class. We discussed in detail about how to measure distance and area from topographic maps. Thank you.